All right, if you're a data engineer, you can feel it, right? The ground is literally shifting under our feet. But look, this isn't about tossing out everything you know. It's about a serious upgrade. It's about retooling for a world that's run by AI. So let's get right into it. Here's the roadmap to becoming an AI-native data engineer.
This one sentence, it just nails the entire shift. For so long, our whole world was about building pipelines to feed dashboards, right? Making data look pretty for a human in Power BI or Tableau. Well, that's over. Our main customer isn't a person anymore. It's an AI. And that single fact changes everything about our job.
So that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you actually make that leap? And look, we're not going to just throw a boring list of tools at you. No way. Think of this as your personal upgrade plan. It's a roadmap designed so you don't just, stay relevant. It's about getting you out in front, leading the charge into 2026.
Okay, first stop on the roadmap, a totally new discipline we all need to master. It's called context engineering. And why is this so critical? Well, because handing raw data to an AI is like giving a master chef a huge pile of ingredients with no labels. Sure, they'll cook something, but it's probably not going to be what you asked for, and it might be, well, inedible. AI absolutely needs context to stop it from just making stuff up, what we call hallucinate.
And pay close attention to that word reliably. That is absolutely not just a throwaway word. It's everything. Think about it. Context engineering is basically our new quality control. It's how we bake trust directly into our AI systems. We're making sure the AI knows exactly what the data means, where it came from, and how it's supposed to be used. So let's break down what this actually means in terms of skills. First up, semantic layers. This is huge. It's where you define a key metric, say total revenue, in your code just one time. So now the AI isn't trying to guess the right SQL joins, it's using your single source of truth. Next, active metadata. You know those static data dictionaries that are stale the minute you save them? Yeah, forget them. We're talking about systems where metadata is alive, updating itself automatically. And finally, the big one. We have to get really good at handling unstructured data. PDFs, images, logs, all the messy stuff that isn't in neat rows and columns. And here's what that pipeline actually looks like in the real world. So imagine you ingest a raw file. Let's say it's a company's big annual report PDF. The next step is to process it, to chop it up into these small, clean, digestible chunks of text. And then you make those chunks available for an LLM to grab as context. And that's it. That's literally how you get an AI to read and understand all of your company's documents.
Okay, so to make all this cool context engineering actually work, we need a whole new foundation to build on. The old ways we used to store and structure data, well, that bedrock is starting to crack under the weight of all these new AI demands.
And this right here, this might be the single biggest shift we're going to talk about. We are moving away from the world we know so well, rows and columns in a data warehouse, to something completely different. High-dimensional vectors living inside a vector database. And these vectors aren't just storing data points. They're storing meaning. They're storing relationships. It's basically the native language of AI. And hey, if you're looking for where the real immediate opportunity is, like right now, this is it. Being able to build the pipelines that feed these vector databases, what we call retrieval augmented generation or RAG pipelines. Seriously, mastering RAG is the #1 most in-demand skill for data engineers on the freelance market today. Full stop. So here's that billion-dollar process, broken down into 4 pretty simple steps. Step 1, you chunk up your company data. Step 2, you create embeddings. And that's just turning the chunks into those fancy vectors. Step 3, you store all those embeddings in your vector database. And step 4, you retrieve the most relevant bits of info to feed into an LLM's prompt when it needs it. Simple as that. Now, vector databases are a huge piece of the puzzle, but they're not the whole puzzle. We also have to deal with our data lakes, which, let's be honest, have been turning into messy data swamps for years. The solution, which is fast becoming the industry standard for 2026, is using these open table formats like Apache Iceberg or Delta Lake. They bring some much-needed order and reliability back to the data lake. So why is this such a big deal? Well, a few reasons. First, you get time travel. You can literally query your data as it looked at any point in the past. That's a game changer for debugging AI models. Second, you get real ACID transactions on your data lake. That means you get the same rock-solid reliability you'd expect from a traditional database. Your operations either complete perfectly or they don't happen at all. And when you put it all together, you get this beautiful, unified Lakehouse architecture, which is really the new gold standard for data platforms.
Okay, so we've got our context and our foundation sorted. Now, how do we actually run all this stuff in production?
Well, if you already know about DevOps, automating and monitoring software, then you've got a massive head start on understanding LLOps. It's really the same core philosophy, just adopted for the very unique and weird challenges that come with AI pipelines. But this brings us to a really tough question. In the old world, how do you know if your code works? You write a unit test. Does 2 plus 2 equal 4? Yep, test passes. Easy. But how do you write a unit test for the quality of an AI's answer? It's not a simple yes or no anymore, is it? Well, the solution is this whole new class of tools built for something called LLM evaluation. Frameworks like Ragas or DeepEval are designed to automatically test and score the quality of what your AI is spitting out. They're checking for things like, is this answer relevant, or is it faithful to the original data? This is the new unit test for the world of AI.
Oh man, this is one of my favorite examples of how AI is just changing our daily grind. Seriously, who here hasn't lost hours of their life writing some ridiculously complex regex just to clean up a column of phone numbers? We've all been there. Well, the new way? You just write a simple prompt for a small, cheap LLM and tell it, hey, format all these numbers exactly like this. Boom, done. It is an insane productivity boost. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about the new core skill of context engineering, the new foundation of vector DBs and lakehouses, and the new way of operating with LLMOps. So now let's wrap it all up into your personal playbook, a real, actionable strategy you can use to put all these skills to work.
And here it is, the whole thing, summarized on one slide. This is your cheat sheet. The consumer of our data, it's gone from dashboards to AI agents. How we process it, we're moving from ETL to ETLT, adding that all-important embed step. Where we store it, from old-school SQL warehouses to vector DBs and lakehouses. And how we check for quality, we're graduating from basic unit tests to smart model evaluation. This right here, this is your AI native upgrade checklist.
So how do you take this and actually make money with it, especially if you're freelancing? 2 key pieces of advice. First, niche down. Seriously, don't just be an AI data engineer. Be the person who builds RAG pipelines for law firms so they can search case files. Get specific. And second, productize what you do. Build a reusable template, your scripts, your Docker setup, so you can spin up a solution for a new client incredibly fast. So there you have it. We've walked through the roadmap, we've broken down the skills, we've laid out the strategy. You now have the map. And believe me, the demand for these skills is absolutely exploding. The only thing left to do now is to start building. So, the real question is, are you ready?